workspace, positions when you're sitting for a period of time, some do's, some don'ts. You're going to learn about yourself a little bit more today. So let's get right into it. Let's say I'm at the computer, right? Let's say for some reason that because of how the monitor is set up, it has to be a little further out so you have a large space in between yourself and the computer. Let's say you have to type on or do touch screen applications, tasks, and that you're leaning forward more so. Like this is for certain positions, for certain professions, but ideally modify it to ease up the best body position based on gravity of certain body parts, especially the upper back and neck. So when the head comes forward, a couple things are happening, one of which your head weighs as much as a bowling ball. So when you hold that for a period of time, try doing that even with a 5-pound weight. It is incredibly difficult. It forces you to strengthen and tighten up muscles in the back of your shoulders, but they can only last for so long. There's types of muscle cells called fast twitch muscle fibers and slow twitch. Slow twitch are muscle cells that are constantly on for a period of time. They stabilize your spine so you don't walk around all goofy like. But once those fatigue out, especially those are the first to go with any injury to the body and or compensations. So just even knowing that, we have to build up the slow twitch muscle fibers and also for the fast twitch, which are the fast explosion, powerful types of movements. Those are the muscle cells that are recruited for that. So for example, when you're sitting at a computer for longer periods of time, everything's rounded. It's forcing gravity coming down on your back to either one, tighten up the area, thus chronic tightness, headaches, ringing in the ears, trouble sleeping. There's a lot of stuff that can come with that. How you have to go either about it is bring the monitor closer. If you cannot do that, there's a few situations, either one of which you have to take constant breaks, setting a reminder in your phone on the alarm every hour, and then every hour go through a couple small stretches, exercises, which I'll go over here in a sec. The other would be ideally keeping everything in front of you. For more alertness, you want the computer screen raised up because of how your eyes view and process that at a higher rate increases attention alertness. At a lower rate, it mimics sleeping. Eyes become shut, became tired, fatigued. There's a lot of stuff with that too. So going in, ideally computer screen at eye level or a little bit of above, making sure that you're not rounding forward for a period of time. The human body wasn't meant to sit for longer periods of time. It was meant to move, to forage, to hunt, to gather, and then we just accelerated with technology into a certain workforce. So in terms of stretching, in terms of exercising, how can we address this upper back tension, even this mid to lower back? That'll be probably for another time. First thing is, if we are in this position, cross-legged, it might feel good, but what is that doing to our body over a period of time? It's forcing the hips to go into external rotation, which then puts tension on the glutes. Once that holds up over a period of time, then it pulls and compensates your lower back. So if you are gonna go into this position, if it is comfortable, switch up the legs. 1, 2, move the leg in the outwards position, excuse me, bud, to where you move your leg out. If you notice cramping, that's generally a sign that you're heading in the right direction. It's not necessarily gonna do damage for most people, that is, but you just need to send one signal a day to that tissue. So again, going back to the muscle fiber types, type 1, type 2. Type 1 is the one that we want to recruit for positions over a period of time, such as seated positions. So we want to hold your leg out as long as you possibly can. If you notice cramping, you have to relax, that's fine. Then go to the other leg and go back and forth. Ideally, you only need one signal sent a day in order to do change of tissue. So whether your leg's completely straight or bent as much as you possibly can, doesn't matter. What matters is holding that for a period of time to build that up, especially if you're cross-leg position. Now, let's get into more of the rest for arms, upper back, shoulders. Okay, first things first, when we hear let's say timer went off every hour. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes, but it's hugely important for your structure, okay? Either get up, stand, walk around. The one for the neck would be the biggest circle you possibly can with the chin and the head. But the focus needs to be on the chin, not moving into any areas of pain, especially sharp pain. Tightness is okay. I just starting off with, most people, I don't like them pushing that line because then it leads to soreness. Adaptation of tissue, of course, usually results from that, but in general, this is what it looks like. So tucking your chin down, sweeping across till you can't anymore. You're gonna feel tension on the other side. From there, you then rotate off, making a circle, the biggest circle you can with your chin. Reach while keeping everything neutral, sweeping back, forth, and that's half of one. Now we have to go the opposite way, tucking your chin, sweeping across, holding this other shoulder, and then starting to roll the other way. From there, reach with your chin, and then back together. That's one. You only need to do one. You're gonna feel a little less tension over up top. The other one, which will work incredibly well, is having your elbows on the table. You lean back and your head can go between your arms. If this is where you're at, that's fine. It's gonna help break apart that tension, especially if you're having numbness, pain going down to the fingertips. This will help, but you have to build up the reps and the sessions on this. So in order to do muscle tissue change, you need stretching, holding of a minimum of 2 minutes total a day. That is very, very true to increase fascial plasticity or lengthening of tissues, but that's just one part of it. You want to be able to use that length. So you have to attach the nervous system or brain to that new acquired tissue, that length, just so you can control it. Incredibly important. So as we go into this stretch here, you can break it up into 30 seconds. You can break it up into 2 minutes, either or, just to get done with. You can lean to the side. You can explore a little bit. Again, not moving into any areas of pain. After holding, I want you to push your elbows down into the table, both of them, so you can track the muscles. Not 100%, somewhere around 50 to 75% intensity downwards of your 100% max that you possibly could. After you're done with that for about 10 to 20 seconds, from there you want to, the act of trying to lift off, for, again, 10 to 20 seconds. For most people, watch the lower back for that to compensate just the lift. So if you can, make sure the spine and torso is stabilized, so you are trying to lift up. But it's all coming from the arms, armpit, and the shoulder region. So those two, very, very good. Now for wrists, if we're extending for a longer period of time and the hand is on a mouse and rolled downwards, that is causing contraction of a muscle called the supinator, the pronator, and it's causing a lot of tension and tightness in the hands. So we need to go from here to spending time upwards. Thus, this could also lead to elbow problems, to shoulder problems, to the neck from there. So it's incredibly important that we also want to go when your arm's completely straight, to squeeze all the muscles in your arm. Again, about 50 to 75% intensity of what you could do. Back off that, making sure everything's straight, so you're bleeding that energy contraction, or that contraction of that muscle, of that energy into the ligaments and tendons and the connective tissue, either the shoulder, elbow, and or wrist. So your arms, your hands can be straight, they can be bent. Ideally straight will work better for most people. Good progression from there would be bicep curl, but you're trying to roll your hand, thumb outwards, all the way up, straighten your hand back to where you were, squeeze for about 5 seconds, and then back up. If you can't, extend the wrist, roll and extend and roll the elbow. So it's pretty much a big circle, but making sure when we're here for a period of time, this should be both hands, both arms, that we want to open up the arm from there. Those are incredibly important for the workspace, when you're at your computer. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to message below. Reach out to me. I'd love to help out. Those are a few things that will help you in your everyday life.